Beep, 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 beep. Oh, it's me. That was almost that Star Wars thing. Da 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 da. 20th Century Fox or whatever it was. How we doing? All right, Gillian, bloody Keegan. Are you there, Gillian? How are you playing at? Let's get right into it, shall we? Education Secretary defends plans to allow children to choose their own pronouns in the classroom. What the hell is she doing? What the hell are you doing, Gillian? You don't understand this. Do you? Just say so. You don't understand it. If you think that's how this works. Critics of the government's plans to let children socially transition at school are very unreasonable, says the Education Secretary has argued. Unreasonable. Unreasonable? It's a safeguarding issue. Gillian? You're Secretary of State for Education. It's a safeguarding issue. What the hell's wrong with you? Unreasonable? Unreasonable. It's got nothing to do with reason. Gillian Keegan... I'm so angry. Gillian Keegan defended draft proposals allowing pupils to choose their own pronouns in the classroom as long as they have consent from their parents. You don't get it, do you? At all, Gillian. Miriam Cates has told you. People, who are in government have told you. And now I'm having a whinge, right? You do not understand that by allowing a child to adopt a fiction, you allow that child to force others to live in their delusional fiction. It's not their damn pronouns. The child then has to lie about the reality of that individual. To lie about that reality of that individual and the reality around them. You are permitting into the school system a belief system that hurts people. Do you get that? It is not a neutral act. Cass said so. It is not a neutral act. And by doing so, those young people who are 16 and 17, which is the ones you're talking about, will have people below them who are 12 and 13 that will admire them in many ways. You are proliferating a social contagion that has no place in schools and needs to be usurped. Because right now, it's the one that's doing the usurping, and you are a handmaiden to it. A handmaiden to it. A handmaiden to this. Terrible, terrible idea. This terrible ideology. This terrible ability to have someone screw up reality for an entire group of people. We know there's a social contagion element to this, and you seem to be able to refuse to believe that's the case. We know that we have cohorts within individual schools. We have cohorts within individual girls. This is the same as self-harm. It's the same as anorexia. It's got a social contagion element, a particularly dangerous one to girls. And let alone what it does to boys at 16 and 17. If they're already porn-addled and they think they're sissies, you are affirming what would be a dangerous path for them to go down that involves a lot of fetishism and a lot of behaviour that's sexual. Right? They don't need you to make it seem normal. Okay? You've got to stop this. Gillian, this is not a game. Okay? The simple fact of the matter is that trans ideation presenting in an under 18-year-old or anybody at school, even if they're still 18, is a red flag. A red flag. That social transition is the on button of a conveyor belt that the vast majority of people will stay on till the end. You are not being sensible here. You are saying it's okay. It's okay to put them on this damn conveyor belt. The answer from government must be an unequivocal no. The same goes for practicing gender identity, ideology, queer theory, and whatever else in the classrooms. And certainly, when it comes to teaching, it should be taught for the horror show it is. Get them young, 12, 13, when they first arrive, and you traumatize them over this. So that they understand the vicious, cult-like behavior of the adherents of this ideology. so that they understand the unbelievable damage to their bodies, the unbelievable damage to their burgeoning sexual function, and the unbelievable damage to their psychological well-being when they are allowed to produce an avatar of themselves, which is the opposite of what they think they are. And not only that, really mirrors the idea that they might be playing a game of Fallout or Skyrim or any one of the 100 other games where you can create an avatar of yourself. That's not the real world, Gillian. Gender dysphoria, when it presents as being called gender dysphoria, I'm now so skeptical it's unreal, right? Gender dysphoria, if it's a young person that does it, it is a red flag. And no school, none, should be pampering to this, and not one child should be forced to deny reality because some LARPing 16-year-old girl or boy wants to think there's something they are not. This is an iatrogenic process in which nothing but severe harm will be caused. Nothing but severe harm. The disassociation from the reality of one's body, the disassociation from the society in which you live, because that's what will happen, and the disassociation from the possibility that you're complete as you are. There is on this earth no reason for schools to pamper to the wish fulfillment fantasies of young children or young people, which is what they'll call them, so that you can't distinguish them. They're under 18, they're a child, legally, right? They need the information, they need it up front, they need it fast. They need to know how dangerous this is, they need to know what queer theory is, they need to know what tell them, give it to them, right? How about I write your guidance? Right, I can do it in 20 minutes. You do not, under any circumstances, affirm a fake identity of any individual in any class, in any school, in Britain. That's it. It's a red flag. Now in America, in some places, they're doing the opposite. The exact opposite. The exact opposite. If you don't affirm, they're going for the parents. They'll take the kids away. They're now starting to find people who gender people wrongly. This cannot be allowed to stand in the UK. It cannot be allowed to stand. It must not be given an inch of leeway. Gillian? And you can take it that I'm being offensive is because I'm offended by what you're saying. I'm offended by your gullibility. I am offended by your inability to recognise that the vast majority of these children will grow up to be gay or lesbian, or have problems with abuse, or have problems with some kind of trauma in their life. There are just young people with distress. You do not affirm that distress. Teachers are not qualified to deal with an iatrogenic medical process of social transition. You are behind the curve. You are ignoring what you've been told by various people. You have not in any way engaged with this by saying to the trans activists who keep coming in and wibbling on about it being real, you need to go away, right? We need to identify who these people are, right? Because they're not just invested in trans and the kids, they'll be invested in the rest of it too. It'll be all about queer theory and it's the whole thing. It's an ideological framework, Gillian, and you're missing it. And it's standing there in front of you going, I'm an ideological framework. And you're missing it, I believe, because at heart you are a decent person. And you don't like the idea that you could get this wrong. You've got it wrong. You've got it badly, badly wrong. Badly wrong. We need a moratorium. It ends. All of it. All of it. Get it out of schools. Don't affirm children. And for goodness sake, can we have a government that will make a declarative statement when it comes to the safety of young people, particularly young people, in my particular worry, who will grow up to be gay or lesbian. This is conversion therapy, Gillian, and you think me saying they shouldn't do it is not being reasonable. How dare you?